Hello, friends. Welcome to our episode 15 of Copy First Session and Celebrating Life series. I'm Smita, founder of Nimitam, and today our topic of discussion is on leadership concepts. And we have Aditya Kuchipola as a guest speaker. And I have worked with Aditya in one of the organization. He's an author, he's a speaker, he's a life coach, and he specializes in emotional intelligence coaching as well. And he's been recognized as one of the top 10 life coaches in India as per one of the magazines, which is, CEO magazine in 2020 itself, right, Aditya?
Okay.
So and it's been a great working relationship with Aditya when I was in that organization, and he's a great mentor to work with. So I can quote an example here. So there was a program in the organization we were working, and we had to do a presentation basically, and you were one of the, the judge over there, and our team had come with in the third position basically, and we didn't know what went wrong basically. We were all struggling basically to understand. It was some upskilling program, and we were struggling what went wrong, because we were good at our presentation, we were good at articulation, and the thing is, you come and tell us that coordination was missing. So that's the clarity you gave us. So that means a lot for us at that point of time, because we were beginning of our career and all. So yeah, and Aditya has worked in a lot of senior positions also in various organizations. So yeah, let me hand it over to Aditya so that he can say hi to you guys.
Thank you, Smita. You reminded me of that incident, and I didn't remember it. But yeah, now that you have stated it, it greatly resonates with me. So yeah,
So,
cool.
so Aditya, I know you from a corporate background. Now you are into an entrepreneurship. You are into your coaching work as well. So, how has been the journey for you so far?
It's very interesting. Very interesting because before I kind of came into this field,
Hmm.
I went through a lot of thoughts, lot of plans, some on the paper, some on the mind, some over a coffee table with a few friends and mentors. But once you jump into it, it's a completely different thing altogether. And every
Hmm.
moment is so enriching and so learning. It's fantastic. And then you plan for a ton of things, and then life throws a curveball at you in the form of a pandemic, derailing all your plans and all that stuff. So how do you adjust yourself? These are the things that I don't think any business school can teach you,
Hmm.
or anybody can predict and then plan for these things. But it's interesting, and I'm loving the fact that I get to talk to so many people. I get to interact with people. It's fun. It's fun, I can say, in short.
Let's wait. I think there's a net issue.
Yeah, I
So,
think.
were you able to hear me out?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah, earlier you were able to hear me because there was a network issue.
Yeah, so I responded to your question. I don't know whether you got the entire response or not.
Yeah, I heard that. So what I was saying is that whenever we come to you, if you're a people person, and you interact with a lot of people across teams. That's the way I've seen you working as well. So when we all, as youngsters do come up to you with a lot of energy, a lot of questions, you actually are so calm, and you actually listen to us, and you help us get clarity of the and or the solution basically. So it's like toning down your the energy which is there, and looking at the actual problem rather than just hyping up the situation basically. That's the experience I have seen you. I've observed you while working with the organizations. So another thing I wanted to know about is you specialize in emotional intelligence coaching. So what is the importance or significance of emotional intelligence?
It's a
I think
very
again a
interesting question.
network issue.
Can, Can you see me, or I'm able to see you okay?
I'll have to add him again. Now can you hear me? I think there was a network issue.
Yeah. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's better. It's got disconnected basically. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was asking you about emotional intelligence, basically the
Yeah.
significance of emotional intelligence in one's life.
Yeah. I'm sorry about all the glitches. So, emotional intelligence. Before I get into the significance of it, I would like to touch upon what it actually means. Okay.
Hmm.
Emotional intelligence, according to me, is your ability to channelize emotions in a very prudent way.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
When I'm
Hmm.
talking about emotions, I'm not talking about just your own emotions, but also the emotions of everybody around you. Okay.
Yeah.
So the way you channelize those emotions is not in a very manipulative way, because since you have an in-depth understanding of so many emotions, you're not trying to manipulate it. You are trying to use them
Hmm.
in a very different way so that it's
Hmm.
mutually beneficial, and it's beneficial from a long-term standpoint and not for short-term gains.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
intelligence is all about. Okay. Now, the reason why this becomes important is a lot of times we keep hearing things saying that if you're going through any negative emotion, don't haste into any decision at that point in time.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
But look at Ramayana. Okay. If you look at Ramayana, Dashrath, as
Hmm.
a kid, gives a few bones to his wife, one of his wives, at a time when he's extremely happy,
Hmm.
and comes back to bite him.
Hmm.
So the point that I'm trying to make is when you're extremely happy or when you're
Hmm.
extremely negative state of mind, you shouldn't be taking any decision. You need to kind of come to balance, and
Hmm.
only emotionally balanced you should be taking the
Hmm.
decision.
Hmm.
Now,
Hmm.
some people take longer time to come into the balanced state. Some people
Hmm.
take short. The
Hmm.
more you practice this skill called emotional intelligence, the faster you tend to get into that state of balance. The
Hmm.
more
Hmm.
balanced you are, the better decisions you take, because those decisions are very closely connected with your core values.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's the reason why emotional intelligence becomes so very important. I mean, we get to see so many people um, in the in our day-to-day life, the leaders that we work with, the leaders that we look up to, and we see
Hmm.
in all this stuff. And sometimes when we see them do certain silly things, we we ask as to why did this happen? That's because of the lack of balance that we feel. So emotion
Hmm.
is a very very important role in our lives, and
Hmm.
that's why intelligence becomes important. If you look at some of the surveys that are being done by organizations like World Economic Forum or
Hmm.
LinkedIn, for a fact,
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
they state that emotional intelligence is one of the top 10 skills that one should have to
Hmm.
succeed in
Hmm.
their life from a future standpoint. So
Hmm.
that's the importance of that particular skill.
Hmm. So, coming from a background of a CA, you're a chartered accountant as well. So, from a number game to a coaching game, that too, especially into an emotional intelligence. So, how do you feel? How is it? How has it been for you?
Yeah, I keep getting this question very often.
Hmm.
So now I have my script in my mind. Earlier, I
Hmm.
used to kind of struggle to put it across as to why I come. Yeah, so It's a paradigm shift,
Hmm.
and I started noticing this shift in me for over a decade
Hmm.
when I started working with people. But I mean, I couldn't figure out why or what is happening.
Hmm.
But fortunately, I've had a few mentors, and one of my very close mentors, he introduced me to emotional intelligence
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
4 or 5 years back. He said, "Why don't you go get this test done for yourself?" And I tried to get hold of somebody who's capable of running that emotional intelligence test. I couldn't find any, so I went ahead and got myself certified in running the tool.
Hmm.
Then that probably is one of the best decisions in my life that I've taken, because there's so much that I learned from it. And as I started interacting with people, I started realizing there's so much to learn, basically. And
Hmm.
the number crunching, while I have taken it up with a purpose, and I've built a career in that for a purpose. While that, I mean, that's still close to my heart. I'm not saying that I don't like that, but this has started giving me a different sense of satisfaction. So I think
Hmm.
I'm meant to see both the sides of the coin,
Yeah.
and so I would put it.
Okay. So I also wanted to know that we normally say that our core values are really important, and we already have a leader within us, basically. So how do we develop that leader within us, and how can we use these core values to a great extent to bring out that leader within us?
That's a great question. And you know what? A lot of times, when I include senior leaders, um, when I ask them, what are your core values?
Hmm.
Many of them are stumped because they don't have an answer. So, when you don't know what your core values are, irrespective of whether you know them or not, by and large, you tend to act according to them. Okay,
Hmm.
but if you know them, your decisions are better informed.
Hmm. Hmm.
You your decisions are better aligned with your core values. So that's
Yeah.
where it becomes very, very important for us to first understand what our core values are.
Absolutely.
Once you understand them,
Hmm.
any single decision that you're taking, if you run it by your core values and
Hmm.
see where it is sitting in,
Hmm.
it really well. It works like a charm.
Hmm. Hmm.
And in my past, I have taken a few decisions without really knowing what my core values were.
Hmm. Hmm.
And those decisions have that I better understand what my core values are. And I didn't know my core values at that point in time. So those decisions backfired at me, and
Hmm.
I really, if I knew my core values, I probably would have taken a different decision at that point in time.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we all go through these situations in life, and that's where it becomes
Hmm.
extremely, extremely important to know what our core values are. Because
Hmm.
there's a reason they're called the core values, because they're at the core of everything in your life.
Yeah. Fundamentals, basically, basics.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, so how can one develop that so that you can identify your leader within you? Basically, is there a way to nurture your core values? Basically, find out or.
So there are different ways to do it.
Hmm.
If you just Google, you'll find different ways
Hmm.
to identify your core values
Hmm.
are. But the coaching program that I typically run with people, that's one of the first things that I do with individuals, helping them identify their core values.
So when
It
I
very
did my NLP, yeah.
sorry.
So when you do coaching, I mean, when I did my NLP, I got to know I could find out my core values as well. So that was when that is one of the exercise which we do to find out basically. Then you understand why you are the way you are. So I got a lot of my answers because of NLP basically. So
Correct.
you're very right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
uh,
that's where it becomes so very important. And once you know your core values,
hmm,
then just that your awareness levels improve, and as a
hmm,
result of whatever you do,
hmm,
you try to align them with your core values, and
hmm,
that's what takes you into the leadership levels that you're talking about.
hmm. So, and we normally say that we have strengths and weaknesses, and what we try to do is work on our weaknesses basically to improve our weakness. Strength तो है अपना, weakness को सारा improve करते हैं सोचते हैं. But normally I've seen people lead, specifically in my with my coach or on my leadership discussions. Whenever we always say कि अपने strength पे देखो यार, weakness छोड़ो. Something which is, because strength is what is going to take place, is not weakness. Weakness को improve करोगे, strength तक तो आने दोगे. Strength, if you improve, you can take it to the next level. So always focus on your strengths. But at home and all, we're not taught that. We are always taught कि ये weakness है, इसको ठीक करो, इसको improve करो. If you're not good at maths, improve your maths. If you're good at sports, people will not say improve your sports, get into different level. They will say कि अरे maths weak है, maths की practice करो, maths की tuition. But why is it? And what do you feel about it?
See, I think there are two things about it. From a professional, I'll start with personal because that's where we grew.
Yeah.
Ever since we are kids, as you rightly pointed, you focus on the subjects that you are weak at. That's the ingrained thing into our minds. That focus on your weaknesses, There's a reason for that. The reason for that is because that overall grades come down, as a result of which you may not be able to do what you want to do and all that stuff. But that is now how it is articulated. As a result, what gets the message that goes to our subconscious mind is that you focus on your weaknesses and improve on your weaknesses. Okay. Now, if I start improving all my weaknesses, and if I overcome all my weaknesses, look at a lot of successful people. They are successful because they play to their strengths. Okay. The same thing you translate into corporate culture, corporate parlance. You are given strengths and three weaknesses, and your So, according to me, you have to work on a particular weakness only if it is hindering your progress towards your goal or your objective or your purpose. So only then you have to.
So it's the perspective. Because if it's a weakness which is giving you closer to the goal, then you should work on it, and otherwise you should work on your strengths. You put it in a very nicely, basically. Yeah. So Aditya, I recently started this initiative called Nimitam, where we focus on life skills basically. And the main aim is to conduct life skill workshop for youngsters basically. So I want to know what do you mean, what do you understand by the term life skill? What is your understanding about life skill, and why do you feel it is important, and the importance of it in one's life?
Okay. So in a lighter way, the way I would define life skills is these are those skills that are not taught to you either in your schools or in your colleges or wherever you go to learn anything, unfortunately. Because these are skills that are absolutely needed for your life, but they're not taught anywhere, unfortunately. If you look back at your school or college days, you probably would have seen a few students who are extremely studious and getting great grades and great marks and everything. And there were a few bunch of guys who were just loitering around, having fun, doing stuff that is not approved by the teachers or by anybody or any elders. And when you look back at life, you see that some of those folks who were doing everything other than studies are successful. They're doing great. And these studious guys, they're struggling and all that stuff. The biggest differentiator there between them and these guys is the life skills. In a very simple way.
Okay.
So what are life skills? I mean, there are different people defining different life skills and all that stuff. Life skills are things like how do you manage relationships? how do you maintain relationships? How do you build relationships?
Hmm.
Things like
Hmm.
empathy, things like critical thinking,
Hmm.
okay? Things like self-awareness.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So these things, these are typical life skills. You Google, you'll get
S-
tons of life skills.
yeah.
Now, these are
So
things that are absolutely needed for your life. Yeah, sorry,
yeah.
you're trying to say.
So what I was saying is ki one of the life skills is like which is WHO has done. What is done is they've noted down the 10 life skills are
Hmm.
there, and one of them is coping with emotions basically. So because you
Okay.
are an emotional intelligence coaching and you do those coaching, and also is there any tip for the viewers basically who to identify how they can cope up with this emotions basically? Is it a shortcut or is it a tip for I think to have there because when emotions overpower you, you tend to take wrong decisions as well. So is there
Hmm.
something which they can use as a tip? So I use counting basically. So if I use I count 1 to 10 so that I don't take a decision. Because when I came back from a travel, so I had taken a sabbatical. So when I came back, so I had become a little vulnerable and I couldn't cope up with my own emotions. So that time I
Hmm.
know that my life skill related to coping up with emotions is not on the right track. So that's the reason. And I was making wrong decisions, losing out on relationships, basically friends, family. I was getting irritating, a lot of anxiety. So
Hmm.
the thing my mother told me was, your father used to tell all of us whenever we used to get irritated, is count from 1 to 10. Automatically, you can make better decisions. So that's how I learned coping of emotions basically from her. So what's your tip to manage that?
So there are we need to look at these as two things.
Hmm.
One is short term,
Hmm.
okay, on the spur of the moment when you're going through
Hmm.
an emotional. Now, no matter how good you are, let me put it upfront that no matter how good you are, there are you yourself would have certain vulnerable moments where you would lose control of
Yeah.
your emotions, and that's perfectly okay. No
Hmm.
matter how strong you become, the number of instances at which you would lose control of your emotions may reduce, but they going to zero
Hmm.
is, is pretty difficult. At least
Hmm.
going to zero yet. There are still moments when I flare up. Okay. But the number of instances that I flare up have come down. So we need to attack them in a two-pronged strategy. One is on a short-term basis. Short-term basis, you really need to figure out what works for you.
Hmm.
Like you have out counting 1 to 10.
Hmm.
Okay. Some people may take deep breathing, 3 deep breaths, and you would be normal. Okay. Or some people may adopt a power pose, like arms on your
Hmm.
hip, and or with your hands widely stretched, or whichever way. So, whatever suits you for that particular moment, you try to do that. But even before you do that, you should be aware of the fact that you are being taken for a ride by your emotions. That's very important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That awareness is very important. So that's a short term one. From a long term standpoint, if you really want to kind of have better control over things like yoga,
Hmm. Yeah. It's true. True. So, so yeah, I've because yeah, I used to do meditation as well. So when yoga and meditation definitely help you calm your mind basically. So because when you have 10,000 things running on your mind, managing things at different cities and different stuff, so it's very difficult to manage everything. So that management for that is the reason why you need to relax and take decisions basically. So I think meditation is something, or concentration on breathing as well. So recently I've started with this breathing practices also. So there are a group of people we normally practice on concentrating on breathing. That has also helped as well.
hmm,
So, so yeah. Now I want to know more about coaching basically. So when I was at Crossroads, when I came back, I just mentioned that when I came back from sabbatical, my father used to tell me basically that you should have a coach, so who can help you, guide you if you're stuck at crossroads. But I never understood it, because my need for coach was that I wanted somebody to listen to me, because I had the answers within. I just wanted somebody to just tell me that I'm on the right track or I'm not on the right track. Because soon I just wanted a listener, and my father used to do that, so that was sufficient for me. So when my father passed away, and I was in a, because I had come back from a trek, and I was trip and all those 21 treks and all those ship traveling and all. I was when I came back, I was not having a job in hand. I was completely lost basically. So at a crossroad, I met a coach who did not who just told me, just listen to your heart, look inside. And I didn't get what he meant that point of time. So he said, right, there's so much inside you that you have to vent it out, either write it out or speak it out, so that it has to be articulated well, because there's so much content inside. Once it all goes out, you will get your answers. So there were a lot of questions which got answered because of that, because I started writing, and writing is a cathartic exercise. And I know you are also a writer, and probably, so you can let us know that why coaching is important from your perspective, and how do you find your coach basically. So for example, I need a coach who just can listen to me. So there are different needs of any different individuals. So how do you identify a coach, and how do you go about it?
Okay. So before I tell you how you identify a coach, I'll tell you what coaching is all about. Okay. We all probably go to a salon or a parlor for hair or beauty services, right? Let's say, for example, we go for a haircut. There's not too much of need for me, but that need is there for many people to go for a haircut. So when you go for a haircut, what typically happens is you're made to sit in front of a mirror. Okay. And then the person who is attending you, once he finishes your haircut, your haircut has come out at the back, the front, and all that stuff. Now, the need for the mirror is there for you to see yourself. To see yourself where you have blind spots. The same way, in our personality, we all have our own set of blind spots.
Blind spots, yes.
That's where a coach comes into play to work, to act as a. The coach is not going to give you any solutions.
Yeah. Agreed. I think again it's gone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So as I was saying, I probably repeat myself. The coach is not going to give you any solutions. The coach will not even tell you whether you're right or wrong.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But the coach will give you different, will help you look at different perspectives. And as a coach, I typically don't wait to tell people whether it is right or wrong. Purely because of the fact that I don't want my belief system to have an impact on the person whom I'm coaching. That's not. If I believe in something, the person whom I'm coaching also need not believe in that same thing. So I don't do that. Okay. So when you are trying to look for a coach, try to see if the person is able to help you or not by acting as a mirror. If a person is giving too many suggestions, if a person is the thumb rule that I have when I coach people is that 70 to 80% of the time when people are with me, they are the ones who are going to talk. I am on a listen only mode, and I would only ask questions. Okay. So if you find your coach talking more than that, it's time for you to find a different coach.
Okay. Yeah, so probably I've heard this a lot, that coaches are good listeners. Basically, they observe and they listen. So then, and they only ask questions. So probably everything is within you. So yeah, that's a very well put it. So I want to see some of the questions as well.
That's a wrong statement. Let me just correct you for a bit.
Yeah.
Probably everything is within you. everything is within you. That's for sure.
Yes. Huh.
There's no probability in that.
Yeah. So let me check for questions basically. Is there any questions or not? Uh, so not many questions this time. So yeah, no questions as such. So yeah, another thing I wanted to ask you regarding is that what is your life mantra and what is it that one giveaway or a takeaway lesson for the viewers basically who are watching this show basically?
Well, the thing is, and again, I would probably allude back to the list of life skills that we're talking about.
Hmm.
What I would what I would recommend strongly is the self-awareness. That is extremely important. And
Hmm.
there is no point to say that, okay, fine, I am completely self-aware now.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's, it's not a destination. Okay.
Hmm.
Self-awareness is a journey. And it takes a while for us to kind of really understand ourselves. Now, if we don't understand ourselves, how do you think we can understand others?
Hmm.
Or how do we think we can understand anything around us? So let's start with ourselves first. Let's understand ourselves. Self-awareness becomes so very important because a lot of actions that we take without being self-aware, they tend to come back to bite us back. So it becomes
Hmm.
very for us to focus on self-awareness. So if you ever want to start your transformation journey, I would recommend start with self-awareness. Once you start that, the kind of change that you start seeing in yourself will be phenomenal. And it's not just you, even the people who are around you, the way they look
Definitely.
at you changes.
Absolutely. So this
So
is
start
shift. You mind, there's a
putting
mind
it
shift, right? There's a mind
exactly.
shift which happens.
Yes,
Yeah. So probably I've seen there's a fixed mindset with which is there, and there is a growth mindset where you see creativity coming in. The moment your shift happens, you see a lot of creativity happening everywhere around, and not only in workspace, your personal space, and things sometimes you surprise yourself. That's
correct.
the thing because you start looking at as if life is like a clay. You can mold it in the way you want it, and if this doesn't work out, it doesn't matter. We'll try something else. So that's how it
Yeah,
works.
true,
So,
true.
so for me, I think this pandemic has done an introspection time, given an introspection time for myself. I was able to meet a lot of coaches, a lot of interesting personality who are into leadership coaching as well, and I got to learn a lot of skills basically. So I have become so the tagline which I normally use. I'm a vidyarthi for life. So lifelong I'll be learning. So I can't stop learning. So there is always learn, relearn. So you have to unlearn also. That is also important. Sometimes we learn old belief system, things we which limit us basically. We have to unlearn it. So probably that is what I have used my pandemic time for introspection and learning more about myself. So it's like I'm with myself, enjoying my solitude. I mean having reading books and spending time with yourself. That was much more important for me. So
Hmm.
another question I want to ask you is how has been the pandemic period for you basically in terms of the coaching experience? How are people's reaction on this pandemic when they are into your coaching sessions and all? So they panic, they are enjoying. What is it, or they are into your learning mode?
Hmm. So I'll probably take it from two sides. One is how has it been for me,
Yeah,
and how is it for people.
yeah.
Comes to me, uh, it has taught me a lot of things
Mm,
because a lot of my plans have gone for a toss. Many of my clients have been going back, um, and some of the clients who were who were paying me got converted into free clients because I told them there's no point terminating the program when you have made so much of progress. Let's go with this. You can pay me whenever you have money. So so it has taught me a few things that it's important to look at certain things from people's aspects, from people's side, and that's and and when some of these people go through the entire coaching program and they come back to say that I can't really thank you enough for letting me go through this, that's something different. It's it's hard to explain.
Mm.
At the same time, this pandemic has given me an opportunity to complete the book that I've been working on for quite some time.
Mm.
I was never time to do that, but this
Mm.
has given me, between the jhadu pocha, cooking and all this stuff, whatever time I was getting, I could focus on getting this book out.
Mm.
And if this pandemic was not there, I probably would not have been as satisfied with that outcome of that book as I am currently with it. So that's that's fantastic. That's a great thing that has happened with me.
Mm.
So that's the personal side. On when it comes to others whom I'm seeing,
Mm.
it's been on quite a few lives, and we have to be very honest with it because people have lost jobs,
Mm.
they were not expecting it, and then it has suddenly hit them, and they've lost jobs. Relationships are going through a roller coaster ride. Uh, some families are tearing apart, and some are coming together also. Okay.
Mm.
So there have been both the sides to it. It has put people through things that has been unexpected from most of them.
Mm.
Okay, and some are coming through those testing times,
Mm.
and some are succumbing to it, unfortunately.
Mm.
But then it's a lesson that's there in front of us. It all depends on
Mm.
how we.
Okay. So, Aditya, the leader, I remember you as a person who doesn't want people to follow you, basically, who normally empowers people basically to become better leaders. So that's what I have learned from you basically when we were working there. That's the takeaway which I have from you, what I've learned from you basically. So let me check once again for questions if anything is there. I think it's time to end our show, but let's check for questions. So there is somebody we know this mentioned that awareness helps basically. That's what he's mentioned. So yeah, not many questions, and I think people must have had a great time. I had a great time talking to you. It's been a long time, we've not had a catch up like this. So it was a great having you on the show. Thanks for your time, and thank you viewers. Hope you enjoyed this chit chat about leadership with Aditya. So in case you want any help with your coaching and all, you can approach Aditya if you are interested in life coaching or emotional intelligence coaching. He's available. His ID is Aditya Kuchipola. He's available in Instagram, LinkedIn as well. So in case you need any help or want to know more about his books and all, you can refer his page and his website as well. It's given in the LinkedIn as well. So thanks everyone for your time, and let's catch up for another interesting topic on next Saturday at 7 p.m. on Insta Live. Bye till then. Thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Smita.
Aditya. Okay, bye.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.